I'm Jim Gazzolo. It's been a wild year on Polk Nation. Coaches hirings, coaches firings, record sales, record softball season, strange times, rebuilding continues, new facilities going up. We've explored all of those this year on Polk Nation. And as summer winds down and we get ready for the Julys and the new year that's about to begin and the promise that it brings and the pressure that it brings, we're going to look back real quick one last time on some of the best moments on what we call the best of Polk Nation. Hope you enjoy it.
The time for McNeese basketball in this athletic department to become regionally and nationally relevant is now. My expectations could not be more clear. I expect to be elite. I expect us to win on the court and off the court. And when I went through all the vetting process and this whole thing, I didn't want a coach that understood these expectations. I wanted a coach that embraced them. I found that in this gentleman right here.
Thank you. I've got some notes here, but those who know me best, I ad-lib pretty good, so I probably won't get too far from the notes. But I'm excited to be back in Louisiana. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here. I want to thank my wife and daughter, Lauren and Caroline, who are here. They're probably ready to get me out of the house. They're sick of having me around so much. The last year or so they may be the most excited here because they're not going to have to deal with me every day. So I want to thank all you guys for making this happen. Trust me, it was a ton of hard work on a lot of fronts. Got a little dicey a couple times, but we were able to bring it across the finish line, and I want to thank those guys. And you know, you look at it, the leadership of the athletic department starts with Coach Schroyer. And one thing that was very appealing is you don't want to go somewhere where they haven't won and where other sports are not winning. If other sports aren't winning, then there's there's some sort of structural issue. But if you look at all the other sports at McNeese, I mean, look at our baseball team, just swept this past weekend, right? They won the Southland last year. Softball took 2 out of 3 from Monroe. They won the Southland last year. Volleyball flipped it in the first year, finishing in second place. I mean, there's a lot of success around McNeese athletics, and it starts with the leadership with Coach Schroyer. But we're going to be the next successful program here, and that's what we're charged with. That's what we're charged with doing. I'm looking for guys in recruiting that are going to be as excited to be in Louisiana as I am. I love this state. I love this. I love being here, and I'm excited to just get in Southwest Louisiana here. You know, we're gonna be out and about. You're gonna see me. You're gonna see me wearing my McNeese gear. We're gonna be all over this 5-parish area. I mean, Allen, Beauregard, Cameron, Calcasieu, Jeff Davis. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be in this area. We're gonna be recruiting players. We're gonna be recruiting fans. We're gonna sell this thing out. We're gonna get this thing moving. And I look forward to building great relationships here in Southwest Louisiana, getting to know the people, and really our basketball program being a source of pride for this area. And let me be clear, because I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff, but we're going to turn it around quickly. This is not something I'm trying to do, this is going to be done quickly. All right? Next year, we're going to be ready to roll, period. All right? This is not, I'm not coming in here talking about we're not talking about some major rebuild or any of that stuff. We expect to win and compete at the top of the Southland next year, point blank, period. That's what we're going to do. So, I mean, I want to be very clear about that. But this program needs a rebirth. This area needs to continue its rebirth from the Hurricanes. It's very humbling. I was here with our team after the Hurricanes hit, and we did a little bit of community service when I was down the road at LSU. And to come back and to see the progress it's made and to see the progress that still needs to be made. This area needs a rebirth. And my career needs a rebirth. After everything that's gone on, my career needs a rebirth. And so, let's be honest, right? And so, yeah, I think this is the perfect time where all of that's coming together, and I'm excited to hopefully be a conduit for the rebirth of the basketball program and the rebirth of this area. And we want our program to be a program that everybody can be prideful of and excited about, and you can stick your chest out and say, I'm from Southwest Louisiana, and McNeese has a damn good basketball team. And that's what we want to be about. Our program is going to be about pride. You know, I want people that wear McNeese gear. I'm going to be wearing McNeese gear. That shows that we've got a pride about what we're doing. And that's what we're going to be. In short, we're going to be a program that you're going to be proud that represents this area, represents this university on and off the court. I look forward to packing this arena. So I'm going to work hard to make sure that they have a great atmosphere to play in, that we have fans in the stands, and that they know that we're working hard on that. But everybody, band, kickers, cheerleaders, students, you know, everybody makes a difference and adds to the atmosphere here. And we're a program that we're going to include everybody. We're going to be inclusive with everybody, and everybody plays a part in our success. We can't do it alone. We got to do it together. And that's what we're going to do. I'm excited to be back here. I'm excited about this rebirth of our basketball program and of our community. And I can't wait to start the largest turnaround in college basketball this next season. We're going to go from 23 losses to 23 plus wins next year. Remember, I said that. And we're going to start that today. And we're going to all do it together. It's going to take everybody in this arena, and we're going to keep bringing people. If everybody who's here, I appreciate you coming. You go tell 2 or 3 other people. We need you. Let's buy season tickets. Let's get this place sold out. Let's get this place packed out. I couldn't be more excited to be your coach. I couldn't be more excited to represent this great area, and we're going to get this thing done, and we're going to get it done fast. Go Pokes.
Welcome back to Poke Nation. Wow, we have Trey Obregon, a.k.a. The Stash.
There we go.
Welcome, man. Welcome to Poke Nation.
Appreciate it.
The Stash.
Thank y'all for having me.
The Stash, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He looks like an old West gunfighter.
Yeah.
Or a barber or a bartender, doesn't he?
Wyatt Earp.
What?
Yeah.
The Wyatt Earp.
There you
go.
Yeah, Tombstone.
One of my favorite movies, honestly, is Tombstone. You seen Tombstone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There were two Wyatt Earp movies at the same time.
I'm your Huckleberry. I love that.
But there's 2 Wyatt Earp movies at the same time.
It is true. It's true. Well, listen, welcome to Poke Nation.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we get started this weekend.
Yep.
Creighton coming in, opening weekend. Where's the team at? Talk about where you think we're at, and I know you guys have got to be excited to actually play against somebody else.
Absolutely. No, we're really excited. Especially after last year coming up short in conference. I mean, we're all eager. We're eager to start. It's a new team. We're really excited. We're excited. We got a lot of good guys coming back. Got a couple guys, coming back from injury. That's not really gonna hurt the year. Maybe at the beginning, but looking at the back end of it, as long as we all stay healthy, it's looking really good, really promising.
So let's talk about you for a little bit. Obviously, you've had an unbelievable career. What was your off season like? What did you do that you always have done, and maybe what is something that was new that you did this off season to prepare for this year?
I'd say off season. When I think of off season, I think of really the fall for me. Because in the summer, I was still coming back from my thumb surgery. So in the summer, I do a lot of traveling, a lot of camping.
Right.
So that's kind of my get away for a little bit.
Help your mind, right?
Right, absolutely. I'm big into that. But no, in the off season, as far as the fall, I was really just trying to get and stay healthy. Because I've always battled injuries here.
Sure.
So really just getting healthy, staying healthy, and really helping the team kind of glue together. From an early beginning, I've been the oldest one here, so trying to get everyone jump on board early and just kind of be the, the head honcho in the locker room.
Awesome.
This is your 7th season on campus.
Yeah.
That's a long time. But how much are you looking forward to it? Because the last 2 years you've gotten off to great starts, but gotten injured and not being able to see what the team has done. How much are you looking to be a part of the whole the season?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. The more I play, the more I enjoy it in different aspects of it. But I'm really excited this year. I guess for me, I'm I think more of trying to stay healthy, just as a whole, so I can, experience a full year, and not have to worry about that. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what this year has in store for us. I'm really excited.
Last season, you told me, we talked a little bit when you were out about what you were learning as far as watching the game from that perspective. How much can you take into that going into this year as a hitter, the mental aspect of what you learned by watching?
Definitely a lot, especially just being with Coach Z from the offensive perspective. I got to kind of see behind the lines of like, hey, how's the scouting report look? Like, how are we going to approach this guy from a coaching standpoint? Because I really couldn't do anything on the field, obviously, because of my thumb. But I really just kind of learned a lot from that perspective, kind of made it our offensive plan as a whole just kind of makes sense in my opinion, and for me this year kind of help relate it to the younger guys that don't really know or kind of new to the program. So it kind of for me I kind of help translate it and kind of help it kind of make sense or glue for the guys that are new or kind of getting new to the program.
Last year, the tournament was here, the championship series was here. You lost technically by game 2 by about a replay in about an inch and a half. How much does that kind of weigh on you guys, and how much does that fire you up?
I'll be honest with you, we don't really think about it that much. It's more of like you have to use it as a chip on your shoulder for motivation. But I mean, to say that we talk about it, it's kind of unspoken. Like, we're kind of still bitter about it, as a whole. But it's not. You can't hold on too much of the past. You have to keep moving forward. Yeah. It's kind of living the. Live where your feet are, be where your feet are, but kind of, prepare for the future.
So let me ask you this: talk about what do you think this year's team strength is? Obviously, Coach Hill and this program has had a lot of success in all the years that you've been here. What is the strength of this year's team?
I think the strength would be we're older as a team, especially the guys that are going to be starting. I mean, I'm 25, and we got the youngest guy in our offense just turned 21. So I mean. Wow. Well, we have no one under 21 in our starting 9 offensive lineup. And then pitchers, I mean, we might have 1 or 2 guys that are 20. So we don't have anyone that are 19. We don't really have any teenagers that, so I would say experience and guys that just have been here and know the offense, how the team runs. So I would say just experience and just age is really what we have going into this year, the whole.
What's the rivalry like now with Southeastern?
Ever since I've gotten here, it's always been, hey, we don't like Southeastern. So I've always had a bitter look or feeling towards Southeastern. So it's kind of, I guess, maybe just increased a little bit. But, I mean, that can't be our target, Southeastern, because we want to go further and beyond. So it's just a stepping stone we got to get through, and that's kind of how we see it and definitely how I see it.
The thing about McNeese State baseball is kids want to come here to play. Brad Burkell said that last year. The culture here, how has that changed over the years you've been here?
I mean, getting those guys definitely have helped because whenever I first got here, we only had one transfer from a big university. Now we're getting at least 1 or 2 guys. I mean, my roommate Burrell came from Michigan State, so I mean, we're getting those guys that I guess we typically wouldn't have got a few years ago, and just those 1 or 2 guys are definitely helping us, whether it's in the bullpen, whether it's in our lineup. I mean, those guys are helping us.
Difference.
They do. They really do.
Well, it's more in training. Talk about Burrell's entrance music when we come back on Poke Nation.
Welcome back to Poke Nation. Coach Goff, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
All right, spring. Spring's over. Had the spring game on Saturday. Talk about where you started in the spring and then where you're at now.
Yeah, it was a really good spring. I tell you what, the second year in the offense and the defense and the special teams is so much different than the first year. So we were able to move at a lot faster pace than we were a year ago. But, I think in the offseason, one thing we focused on is continuing to develop leadership. And I know, people are out there probably saying, oh, these coaches are always talking about leadership. But it's very important when you got a roster of over 100 people. And I think some guys really took that step forward in that leadership direction as to where a year ago, we had our seniors, and some of those guys did it, some didn't. With these guys, I feel like our leadership group's done a phenomenal job of holding each other accountable. And so that kind of set the stage for us having a pretty solid spring. I think when we entered spring, it was almost like we had been in camp for at least a couple of weeks, as where a year ago when we entered spring, we're teaching everything, and it was so slow. And we had depth. We got some really good depth right now. Bringing those 16 guys in January. made a big difference. But I think we ended on a high note. I mean, I think on both sides of the ball, they had a lot of big explosive plays. There's very minimum mistakes. We had no loafs, so it was a pretty clean scrimmage overall, and we're healthy. And that's obviously your worry going into that spring game, getting on the other side of it healthy.
So, when you saw the spring game, and obviously you went back and you watched the film, and what are some of the positives that stood out?
Well, I think we got two quarterbacks that can sling the rock. We do. They're both gunslingers. Both of them are great leaders. They're really good young men. So very excited about that competition. And we know this. I mean, competition makes us all better, right? I mean, it just does. So, it's going to be a long, hard-fought battle right there, which is good for us. I think these two guys are two guys we recruited for a reason. They both had stats at their previous institutions. They're not two guys that are looking for their first chance. So they both played. So I'm excited about that competition as it goes through the summer and even into camp. And they've got a very healthy relationship. I mean, they're pulling for each other. They're really good teammates as well. I think another highlight is getting D'Angelo Durham back. Our running back room is very healthy right now and very deep. He had that one carry he took for 75 yards in the spring game. Is good to see. And we kind of put a limit on him all spring. We had him. He didn't get any reps the first scrimmage. Took a little bit the second one, and then the spring game we let him go for about 20-25 plays. Moving over to defense, really happy about our secondary. We got some very good depth there in the secondary. 2 new corners, 3 new safeties, some corners that played at the end of the season last year that were true freshmen, have really developed and become really good players. So we got some pretty good battles right there in the secondary, which we didn't have a year ago. Heck, Coach Johnson, myself, and Coach Peck were thinking about having a lineup and play DB at one point. I think the one thing that we did is we addressed a couple very big concerns, and that was obviously the quarterback room, and that was a secondary room going into this past off season.
The thing I noticed is that last year it was kind of win the quarterback spot by default. I know you don't like to say that, but
it's a good way to put it, I guess.
But this year you are going from a strength.
Yeah.
But what do you like about each one? Because they are very different.
Yeah.
And you don't like to run a 2 quarterback system. So what do you like about one? Seems like he can run a lot better. One seems like he can throw better.
Yeah, Jim. Let's say that we all have to evolve, right? We got to continue trying to get better, right? Here's kind of how we can break it down pretty easy for everybody to kind of see. Is Nate? He's not this kind of player yet, but he's kind of got a Baker Mayfield swagger to him. He takes the field, he believes he's going to make that throw, and that guy can't tackle him, and he's going to throw a touchdown here. I mean, he just has that presence to him. He's very confident in himself, and sometimes by default, hey, why'd you throw that? Well, because coach, I can get it there. Which you want that. You'd rather have that gunslinger mentality than somebody who's kind of timid and I don't know if I could really do that. And then Trey is very quiet off the field, but when he steps on the field, he's electric, And Trey gets a crease and he can take it 80 yards. He's your definition of a dual threat quarterback, and he's got a big arm too. So, and he's got swagger to him. It's not like he's second to Nate in that confidence area, not at all. He's just as confident and has that swagger to him. So, that's what I refer to about we got 2 guys that graded out very high, both athletically when we recruited them, and then as the quarterback characteristic traits. And I think they're going to continue making each other better, and it's going to be a very difficult decision for us. And we're going to do what's best for the program. If it's playing both, then we'll play both. If one separates himself and is the clear-cut leader, then we're going to go that route. But I'm not going to press the issue. They're both doing great right now. I'm excited to work with them all summer and through camp.
The thing I noticed about the offense this year, there's more pieces in place already.
Yeah.
A lot more stuff to the backs, a lot more check downs, a lot more options coming from the quarterback. How much more advanced is this offense now?
Well, I think a lot more. And every year they're in the system, you're able to do more and more and more, right? Our last year at Valdosta State, we'd been there with them for 3 years, and we can take this concept and put it with this concept. Kids don't even bat an eye, they're going. As again, last year, we're in fundamentals. We're at ground zero. Like, hey, here's what we do in this protection if you see this front. And now the guys are not thinking about their assignments. They're actually responding and reacting to them really fast. So there's a big difference going into year 2 with the offense and defense.
We come back with Coach Goff. We're going to talk about some more of the spring game and the future of this program right after this on Polk Nation. Final segment on this season review on Polk Nation. Coach Schroyer, it's been interesting. Everybody knows where we've been, though. Where are we going? Okay, you've talked NIL, you've hinted at NIL.
Mm-hmm.
The NIL deal, is it coming? How important is it? And I'll throw a name out for you when you're done with it.
Oh, it's coming for sure. We're committed to doing that. I think that more importantly, us being committed, our fan base and is really committed to doing it. But I just think really more important than that is how quickly it's starting to change. Where, there's a law on Governor Abbott's desk in Texas that basically is going to allow NIL to be a part of the 12th Man Foundation, right? So if all that happens, then what happens with TAF at LSU?
Yeah.
There's so many things that
So
are
you're
changing.
talking about it could enclose into MAF and things like that?
I mean, it
How does
could,
play?
yeah. It's just it's just starting to evolve and change so fast. Like literally, I spend about an hour and a half a day reading as much as I can, talking to colleagues across the country, or more importantly in our region, on what they're hearing, what's happening. Because if Texas, if that law goes into place, I think I think it could change college athletics.
Well, you're going to have to see what states step up and say,
Right.
we got to follow.
Because
Louisiana's got to follow.
Yeah, because what's really going on for Polk Nation to know is that, a lot of the institutions are waiting for the NCAA to govern it. Well, they can't govern it without something through the Congress.
Yeah.
Because state law supersedes NCAA law.
Yeah, and if they don't, if they try to do it beforehand, they're just going to get beaten in court.
Exactly. So it's changing so fast. But look, it is what it is. It's not going to change. It's not going to go away. But I think what institutions are finding is that you have collectives that are formed and all that. Well, you still have to raise money for facilities. You still have to raise money for corporate sponsorships, all that. Well, there's only still a finite amount of money.
Yeah.
And so how do we encompass that, I think, is what schools are trying to figure out. But it is continuing to evolve.
I'd say this, and I'll do this real quickly. Grant Rogers is a kid who's got an extra year if he wants one. He'll be in the Major League draft. He has told me he will play nowhere else but McNeese if he doesn't play pro. So it depends on what his contract is. If there's an NIL in place, you can filter him some money. Players like that, I'm not saying him, but players like that have now a reason to come back to college instead of going into a pro game.
Sure.
That's kind of the change that you could see.
For sure.
All right, with that in mind, the press box, the naming rights, are those just as big a deals,
Yes.
or is NIL the biggest?
They're just as big. I think that the new press box will be it'll be the best in FCS by a ton. It will be able, when people come, they're going to go, wow. I'm excited about that announcement. Should come here within a week or so. I think it's a huge deal. And then obviously, the naming rights of that is really big for this
Will
institution.
that be coming at the same time?
It will not. But here's the thing, Jim, and look, I don't. We talked about this off the air, but McNeese used to just give namings of buildings away.
Yes.
Where now that's college athletics. The naming rights of this building was $2.5 billion.
Yes.
So like the weight room downstairs is the Mallet Performance Center.
Yeah.
The new locker room in football. I want to be able to dedicate that. I'm trying to find and raise money to redo our weight room because that still got messed up from the hurricane. So there's a lot of things that we want to continue to build and continue to evolve to make us better.
I'm waiting for the Chico's bail bonds on the back of jerseys. Come on, let's go.
It's coming. It's
Let's go all old school. Bad News Bears. This FBS. Now, this is the one that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Is it imperative you get there, or is it just you want to be in a position to make your decisions when all this happens so you can make the right decision? Do you think it's coming? You say you read a lot about things. Do you think it's coming this summer? As far as the big crackdowns and changes?
Well, I think a lot of it really has to come down, the more I read, to San Diego State, because I think it's after June 30th of this year, their exit fee leaving the Mountain West goes to almost 30-some million.
Oh.
So if they're going to make a move, they're going to make a move before June 30th, right? Once that happens, we all know, then it starts going again. I think we have to be in a position. I think we have the right guy in football in place with the new locker room, the new press box. We have the right guy in basketball. Baseball and softball are really good. Volleyball is much improved. Women's basketball has to take a step forward. But I think we have a lot of things that are in place, and that's all you can do. All we can control are what we can control, and I'm trying my best to do that.
But you look a lot better than you did 3 years ago to an FBS go.
100%. And our fundraising continues to break records.
And that's the big thing for them.
Absolutely. I mean, look,
They want a partner. They don't want somebody they have to.
to take care of. That's exactly right.
Well, we'll start back up next week with a guest on Poke Nation. Remember to watch Sound Off on the CBS channel, and we'll see you next week on Poke Nation.